confusion today. It's been such a crazy, crazy couple of days in the Sage Goddess world. So we are here for Herbwise and Gemwise. And if you are here for Herbwise and Gemwise, then you are in the right place. And I'm very happy to be spending the next hour with you talking about what are honestly my favorite, I have to say, herbs. Can you guys hear me okay? Can you guys see me okay? What are my favorite herbs and stones so far of any of the goddess kits, I have to say. And I have felt a real kinship. I think you have too, at least from the feedback in the group, with Pachamama. And so it's just such a beautiful connection that I feel like I have with her. This is how you know it's been a hard week, is when my hair's in a ponytail. But I appreciate the kind words. Okay, I'm just reading your comments real quick. So, and I also have a new oracle deck. So if there's time, I'm going to pull cards for you from this beautiful deck called the Namaste Blessing deck. If there isn't time, I will pull these in the group tomorrow. So one way or another, you'll get a card. But it's interesting because I pulled one for myself just before going live with you. And, we're about to work with Pachamama tonight. And the one I pulled was Blessings from the Divine Mother. And it says, a previously closed door now opens for you. This is a blessed and fortunate time. Remain mindful, humble, and grounded. Feel your connection to the earth. Feel her energy and love in your heart. And know that you're eternally blessed by the Divine Mother. I thought that was really pretty. So cool. Can you guys hear me okay? Lisa's saying there's robot voice. So let me know. Hopefully it's clear for all of you. Anyway, I thought that was a cool card to pull given what we're talking about tonight. And so I will pull one for you either tonight or tomorrow. Okay. Okay, good. Everybody's nice and clear. So I'm going to smudge a little bit first. Oh, and then I have two special things. Where are my special things? I have two stones that I've been holding on to since last week, and I'm going to add them to orders as a surprise. So there's been a code happening in Sanctum, and I've opened that code. You guys know about this, Mabon 20. I've opened it to Sabbatical, just for today until midnight, though, only because the Mabon kit went live today. And if you want the Mabon kit, I want you to be able to have it at a nice discount. There isn't going to be any more 20% off. So this is it. We've been doing summer sales because everybody does summer sales. So I've been trying to do what other people do. But this is sort of the end of the run of all of that. So if there's anything that you want from sagegoddess.com, you should order it before midnight tonight, and you can use code Mabon20 to save 20% off of anything that isn't on sale, which is really good. I recommend the Mabon kit. I'm going to show it to you actually, because we're going to do live Mabon ritual together. Sabbatical, us. I'm going to record a ritual for the public. I only do holiday rituals live with Sabbatical. So if you want to have the tools for that, and there's never enough to go around for everybody. I can't keep up. But if you would like one, I want to make sure that you get to enjoy a savings on it. So just smudging everything, smudging you, smudging my tools, and a lot of smudging last couple days. Just clearing the energy, making space for what needs to come through, clearing and releasing anything that is not serving our highest good at this moment. Sending any energies, any low vibrational energies, sending those down into the very center of the earth. Knowing that we don't have to hold those energies, which is a huge blessing, to me, to know that we don't have to hold those. And I sit with the question in the last couple of days, what am I holding that isn't mine? And I offer you the same question. What are you holding that isn't yours? Are you holding anything that isn't yours? I think it's really important to do a daily, if not a, hourly, sometimes clearing of what am I holding that doesn't belong to me? And it can be a conversation. Have you ever noticed that? Like you'll have a conversation with your spouse or with a sibling or a parent or a child, and then afterward you feel a heaviness. Have you had this happen to you? Like I had a conversation with somebody last week, and it wasn't a personal conversation, but they were so upset about something else in their lives. But it was just like a passing conversation about nothing. I don't even remember what it was. It was like food or something. But after I talked to that person, it was like, God, there's such a heaviness, like I felt like I wanted to cry. And even with me and even with the work I do and how long I've been doing this, I still have to stop and think, why do I feel like this? You know what? I'm holding some of her stuff. And I don't need to do that for people. That's really good tea. There's a woman on my team who makes me tea every day at 5 o'clock. It's so yummy. It just feels like love. So anyway, I offer that to you. And I think it's really good. At least at the end of the day, you're laying in bed. There's no kids bothering you. There's nothing bothering you. You're focused on yourself, and you're right before you close your eyes, just ask yourself, am I holding anything that doesn't belong to me? And I like to visualize sending everybody else's energy back to them, you know, everybody. And you can even ask your guides, because you don't always know what to send back. So I ask my guides and higher self, please, on my behalf, send any energy that doesn't belong to me back to its source. Yeah, the silhouette Fran was saying, remember that? Stop, drop, silhouette. Like just letting the energies pass through like smoke. And the reality is, energy will pass through you. How long it takes to pass through you is sometimes up to you. And we empaths create like a web where the energy just gets stuck. And you know, it's funny, since I had put on like 5 pounds. And it's not a lot, but I'm a short person. And so like 5 pounds is 5 pounds. And I have lost it. And I was thinking, gosh, you know, I haven't really changed my diet. I'm active, but I am not any more active now. But I think part of the way that I lost the 5 pounds is I'm very conscious right now of not holding anything. Weird conversations, weird energy, customer stuff, you know, personal stuff, family stuff with my mom. I'm just not holding it. So it's like I'm really conscious of, is something coming in that I'm holding? If it is, let me do a little releasing ritual to let that go. And man, those couple pounds just fell off. It's an interesting experiment to try. Yeah, I'm a real small package. You know, I'm like 5'1.5". I have little tiny feet and very small hands, and so you put 5 pounds on me, it looks like a lot. Lisa said her boss told her she looked thinner today. Yeah, so if you want to stop, drop, silhouette, I think was July. You guys can correct me if I'm wrong. I think it was July. So, but it's just this idea of stopping, like when you're taking on too much stuff, it's this idea of stopping and imagining whatever energy is coming through, imagining it passing through you almost like an X-ray, you know, like passing through you like smoke. So you're hearing the words or whatever it is, but they're just moving past you. And it's not to say that you shouldn't care. You just don't need to internalize everything and take it on as your own. And then because what happens is if you do that, it becomes a battle, you know, within you. And then your body starts to turn on itself. And I think that's why so many of us empaths have health problems. So don't let other people's stuff become your stuff. And Robin's asking about my mom, which I really appreciate. She's not doing better, unfortunately. But you know, my mom's this really interesting case study in not doing any of the things I'm telling you about right now. And she's aware. I mean, you want to talk about somebody who literally has held everything her whole life. If you tell my mom anything bad, she's just going to hold it and stew about it. And you know, I mean, literally her like insides just turn inside out. It's really true. And so I think about my mom sometimes, like, you know, how do I not do that? How do I not do that? And it's, you know, I'm teaching her little by little, but it's like at a certain point, I think it's almost too late. You know, you've already taken on and internalized so much stuff that your body is just sick, you know, sick. So let's not do that, shall we? Let other people have their stuff. Okay. So tonight we're talking about the 3 herbs that are in this little magical tin right here. And I said in the group earlier today, because I was preparing and I was thinking about, you know, how excited I am to talk to you about these 3 herbs. Really, and you know, tobacco doesn't really qualify as an herb necessarily. Although I will tell you that tobacco, what the Ojibwe call kinnick, that's in here. Did you ever just take a deep inhale of this little tin? I'm telling you, it's the business. This is the only one of all of the incenses from the whole goddess year that I've actually thought about selling on its own, because people have loved it. They've been using it as incense. And I appreciate your comments in the feed so much, that you have such empathy with me and my mom, because I think a lot of us understand what that's like. you know, having a mother like that. And then trying to set a better example for our daughters. You know, I don't want my daughter to grow up seeing me as this like bitter woman with everything turned in on her, you know? So it's a challenge about how do we set up our lives so that we don't repeat the patterns of the past, but we set better examples for the future, but we still honor the fact that this is our lineage, you know? It's challenging. Okay, so the 3 herbs that are in the tin are cinquefoil, 5-finger grass, kinnick, which is the Native American ceremonial tobacco, super, super, super magical. Because right now, this is the only way to get kinnick in at Sage Goddess. I don't sell ceremonial tobacco on its own. And then walnut hull. Walnut's in there for a very important reason. Now, here's what I want to tell you. Each one of the tins, the threesome, everything is created very intentionally, right? Each one of them is designed to honor the goddess, but also to have a theme. And the theme of these 3 together, all 3 of them are considered to be herbs for wishing, making wishes, granting wishes. It's really true. And what's interesting is I'm going to talk to you. Yeah, so let me tell you, the ceremonial tobacco, are you ready for the spelling? It's Kinnick, and then the same word over again, but back to back. Let me try and type it for you. Let me try and type it. Yep, that's right. Haley got it almost. There's 2 N's. Hold on, let me try typing. Okay, so that's that. So that is the tobacco, which is actually a blend. So in proper kinnick or kinnick, you can burn this like incense. It is tobacco. All 3 of these herbs are very safe to burn. This would make a magnificent incense for you. If you have not burned it yet, seriously, please burn it. This is meant to be made into an incense, okay? And actually what you should do is you should save this blend and use it as an offering. Now I did this for Pachamama because I really had hoped that everybody would make a despacho. Remember we talked about that, like a sacred offering to Pachamama, which is like all the things that are combustible and compostable, so the things that you can return to her safely. And that you would sprinkle this over because these are all sacred herbs. The walnut hull is sacred. The cinquefoil is extremely sacred. The ceremonial tobacco or kinnick is very sacred. Interestingly about ceremonial tobacco, and we're just going to launch right into it now. This was used, this is a Native American tobacco. It is ceremonial. This isn't what you get in cigarettes, okay? Technically it is, and you can smoke it like that. But one of the interesting things, it's different in terms of its constitution. So kinnick, like proper kinnick, is 30% tobacco, and then it's a mix of willow, dogwood, and sumac leaves. So it's 30% tobacco, and then it's 70% willow, dogwood, and sumac leaves. Now here's what's interesting about willow. Willow is called the wishing tree. Did you know that? It's really interesting. So willow is a tree of lunar magic. You absolutely can. Kaylee's talking about, can I dry my own cinquefoil? You absolutely should dry your own if you have access to it. It's really powerful stuff. Okay. So willow is a wishing tree. It's considered a tree of the moon. It heals sadness. Don't you love learning about the herbs? And this is why it's so important. You know, it's really interesting. I haven't talked about this publicly, but a publisher has approached me to publish my series of books. And we're starting with a book on aromatherapy, and then we're going to move into herbs and stones and everything else. I'm very, very excited. It's a big publisher, so it's a huge, I'm celebrating this week, but very quietly because I haven't talked about it publicly. So I'm working on the aromatherapy outline for the book right now. I'm so excited. But the herbal book is really one of the books I'm most excited about. The publisher is sort of like, the publisher just wants me to write about perfume and stones. So when I said only if you allow me to, write about herbs too, and it was sort of like, okay. I'm really excited about it because I think Scott Cunningham's book leaves so much to be desired. Thank you for celebrating that with me. I'm so excited. I mean, I was going to self-publish my book, so the idea that there's a big publisher who wants to take the Sage Goddess line to completion is really exciting. But, I like Scott Cunningham's book, but as I've told you before, and it's considered to be like the encyclopedia, right? Every pagan has Scott Cunningham's Encyclopedia of Herbs. the challenge for me with Scott Cunningham's book, and the publisher was agreeing with this, is that it says every herb is for protection. It's like, no, not everything is for protection. A lot of things are for protection, but not everything is for protection. Not everything is for banishing, right? It's like we just don't see it that way. Oh, thanks, you guys. It really is exciting. I mean, I was jumping up and down a little bit this morning as I was working on the outline and figuring out what that's going to look like. It's probably going to be a series of 5 or 6 books over the next 2 years, which is really exciting. Okay, so Willow is Lunar Magic, the Wishing Tree. The next thing that's in the Kinnick blend is dogwood. Now, here's what's interesting about dogwood. Are you ready? Kind of stay with me for this. So Native Americans used to burn tobacco, this ceremonial tobacco, take the ashes, wet the ashes, and make a paste. And then they used it to seal peace treaties. Isn't this interesting? So between tribes, they would complete these. Colin says that's a fast pace. It sure is a fast pace. That's why I can't do much teaching next year, by the way. So I have to uphold a publishing contract. Lisa said, I can't wait to take you to bed with me. That's so good. I love that. I will happily go to bed with you, Lisa. I'll be very excited about that. Okay, so Native Americans would burn the ceremonial tobacco, take the ashes, make a paste in a ceremonial way. These would be treaties between tribes, and they would use the paste to seal the peace treaties with each other. Okay. Interestingly, one of the ingredients in Kinnick, which is dogwood, is also considered to be a sacred sealant in the sense of, you know, writing a spell and then closing the spell and sealing the spell. Dogwood has been used by witches for a long time as a sacred sealant. So what's interesting to me is that that's one of the ingredients that's already in the Kinnick blend, has been used as a sealant in other traditions and other ways. And Kinnick is an Ojibwe word, O-J-I-B-W-E. That's a tribe. And so, and Kinnick means what is mixed within. Isn't that interesting? Kinnick means what is mixed within. If you have some of this stuff, like, you know, Kaylee was talking about having 5-finger grass, Terry's talking about having dogwoods everywhere, start harvesting and drawing and making your own. As you learn more and more about the herbs and the trees, you're going to start wanting to, you know, harvest and dry and curate and create and powder and use the bark and all the things. And to me, that's the better part of magic, is looking around you and seeing what you have. That's part of the magic of the land. Wherever you are is what grows wild where you live, right? And part of what I love about teaching you all these things is it like gives you new eyes, right? As you go out into your backyard or into, you know, local open land or preserves and seeing, gosh, I have these things growing all around me. I should be harvesting and curing and, you know, planting, and you absolutely should. Yeah, they did, Aaron. So, I mean, the ashes of the ceremonial tobacco were used to mark sacred spaces. So they would mark their third eye. They would mark right above the navel. They would mark down the tops of the feet. You know, that whole prayer to walk in beauty. They would mark the tops of the feet and the bottoms of the feet even with the ashes, making, again, a paste out of that. Yes. So, and Terry's, I mean, listen, Terry Rich, I think I just need to come and live where you live because she's got dogwood and tobacco. But it's true. Heather, I agree with that. Heather's saying that she was once told the herb you should work with is the one right outside your door. And the Artemisia, you know, the bundles that I sell, the Artemisia bundles, those are all harvested right where I live. It's Artemisia californica. So it's a very unique West Coast wild Artemisia. Same family as mugwort, by the way. There's just a different variation of it. There's so many variations of mugwort, hundreds, right? So, or of Artemisia, I should say. Anyway, so that's dogwood. And then the sumac leaves. So within the Kinnick, you have tobacco, but you also have these really magical, beautiful trees and the wood resin from the dogwood. So here's what's interesting. So yeah, the paste was usually ash mixed with water. Now here's what's interesting. So Native Americans saw tobacco not as something to just smoke in cigarettes. You know, when they smoked it, it wasn't just to experience the relaxation or the benefits that, for, you know, a lot of us smoke cigarettes for. I don't smoke, but my mom did it her whole life, obviously got her into a whole bunch of trouble. But Native Americans looked at the way white people used tobacco and thought it was, I'm trying to think of the nice word. I mean, you can imagine what I'm thinking, right? I mean, because white people didn't use it ceremonially, they weren't sealing peace treaties with the paste of the ashes. They weren't, smoking peace pipes together. They weren't, engaging in anything ceremonial. And so they saw it as sort of a misuse, let's put it that way, of what they viewed as a very sacred offering from Pachamama, from Mother Earth. And so, there's a lot of judgment in that way about the way that we use tobacco today and the way that they see, I would say sacrilegious and a desecration. So I leave that to you. I'm not here to pass judgment, but just to share the wisdom with you of how it's been seen over time. Is it's like, we have a way, according to them, of taking tobacco and just putting it into cigarettes and then just smoking it way too much, not seeing it ceremonially, and that has backfired upon us with health problems, is seen in some circles as, that's what happens when you don't honor the mother, right? Interesting. Karen says, white men use the herb and Native people work with the herb. I think it just depends, and how you see it. But when one group sees something as sacred, right, and another group does not, then you get into all these places where it's sort of like, why are you using it? How are you using it? And even, there's a lot of, one of the reasons I always leave offerings when I pick sage or lavender or artemisia, I always carry gemstones and different little, I carry chipstones and other herbs in my car if I'm going and I'm harvesting, or carrying my pocket or my medicine bag, because you're supposed to leave offerings. You are gathering from the mother. And so you have to do something to give back and give thanks. Whereas a lot of people just pillage. Their white sage used to grow wild, not far from here, in the San Bernardino Mountains. And now it's that all that land, it's private, it's illegal to harvest it because people didn't know. If you go to a white sage plant and you take more than a third of it at any time, you will kill that plant. And you can't take just a third from one side. You have to take an even third across the entire plant. And the plant has to be at least 3 years old. But people don't know that. If you go up to a small plant and harvest a third of it, you will kill it. If you go up to a mature plant and you take a third of it from one side and none from the other side, you will kill it. So people were just like, oh, white sage, and just hacking, and the plants just died. And so I have friends who come to the store here still and talk about that whole area and how it just used to be lush, and the white sage leaves were as big as your thumb, and how beautiful the plants were, and then it completely died. And so now they have kind of consecrated that land and said, that nobody can, it's illegal to pick it. Plants are slowly, some of them are starting to return, but it's an endangered plant for sure. And Terry, it's interesting. I don't know that it's important for any particular reason, but there is something about the plant being mature at 3 and then not taking more than a third of it at a time. That's what I was always taught. Yeah, you have to think about how you're harvesting from a plant. Now, some plants are much hardier than that, right? So some plants can take almost anything that you hurl at them. But white sage, given that it's a weed, I think some people look at it like, oh, it's a weed, it'll grow right back. It is a weed, and yet it is a finicky weed. I mean, you have to water white sage from above, not below, because white sage is used to growing in the desert where there's thunderstorms, and that's how it gets its hydration. If you water it from below, it's going to rot. There's this whole interesting thing about how you grow it. Okay, that's everything I wanted to tell you about ceremonial tobacco. Did you have any questions before we start talking about cinquefoil? Before we start. So I'll keep looking in the feed for questions, but I'm going to start talking about cinquefoil. Sumac is prayer. So sumac leaves are considered sacred for prayer. So what you have is healing in the tobacco. You have healing and wishing in the dogwood. You have a sealant and a protector in the dogwood as well. And then you have prayer in the sumac leaves, being able to send up a prayer to the divine, to the Great Spirit. And I'm drinking masala tea. Masala. And it's really funny. So the woman who works with me, who makes it every day at 5 o'clock, just her little ritual, she's Indian. And it is her favorite tea too, but none of the Indian stores here carry it, so we have to get it on Amazon. It is so heavenly. It's like chai tea, but she makes it every day at 5, and it's like, it's so good. Like, it helps with digestion, because my digestive system at the end of the day gets kind of sluggish, so it kind of moves your digestive system along. It like raises your internal body temperature. It's just good for you. It's good for your digestive system. It's got turmeric and all the good herbs in there. It's masala chai tea. M-A-S-A-L-A. I don't know. You know, let me look it up on, I know she gets it on Amazon. So if you go to Amazon and you search masala tea, she gets it. It comes in these like foil bags full of the little pouches of the tea. They're individual bags. And it's so, so yummy. And I don't think it's very expensive. Well, thank you. Sherry says, be careful burning the sumac if you're allergic to it. That's really good to know. Okay. The one thing I'll tell you about the masala tea, and you can kind of see it in my cup, it stains your cup real bad. Like, all of my cups are completely stained. I think it's a small price to pay for how delicious the tea is, but if you have like really nice white cups and you don't like stains and things on them, you may not love me for masala chai tea. Just putting that out there. But I love, love, love it. Okay, let's talk about cinquefoil. Cinquefoil, what does cinq mean in French? So it is 5-finger grass, okay? So it has 5 pointed leaves. Turmeric tea is so good for you. Haley said she was about to make turmeric tea. If you can get the raw root where you live, like where I live at like the little grocery store where you can get raw turmeric root and slice it up. And if you can slice up raw turmeric root and raw ginger root and make the tea, it's a great thing to add to a masala tea too, to actually add the raw root. It's so, so, so good. If you want to sweeten this tea and make it really special, you can take candied ginger, like from Trader Joe's, and just put a piece or two at the bottom of your masala tea and let it melt down. It's so good. It's so good. It's so, so, so good. And then at the end, I take the candied ginger at the bottom and eat it. And it's like gummy and kind of warm and gummy and tastes like the tea. So good. Okay. Not relevant to what we're talking about, but very important information. Yeah, no, and and turmeric, let me tell you, like, people talk about anti-aging all the time, and they talk about digestive system stuff and everything. The best thing you can do for your face and for your gut is to take turmeric pills from Costco or Amazon, wherever you want to get them. I get them at Costco because they're cheaper, because turmeric pills are not inexpensive. Take turmeric pills, chop up the root, put it in your tea. It is the best antioxidant, like hands down. It will fix your digestive system problems. It will clear your skin, helps with acne, helps with free radicals, so it improves your skin, anti-cancer. I mean, just all the things. If there's one thing that you changed tonight that you didn't do before today and you're going to start doing it tomorrow, turmeric. All the things. That's right. Put it in your soup, put it in your tea, take a pill, stick it, put it, do it. It's so good. And try and sneak it into your hubbies or your partners or your girlfriends or your parents. Try and sneak it. Add it. You'll be really happy that you did. It's so, so, so good for you. It's even helpful for feminine issues, bladder issues. I mean, it's like turmeric all day long. It's like the best kept secret. See, look, you guys are already doing that. And if you're not, you're going to start doing it. Oh, Terry, I wish I had good suggestions for that. My daughter has Crohn's too. Get gluten out of the diet. Do a little turmeric if she can tolerate it. Make sure she doesn't have any stress. That's my best advice. Yeah. Yeah, inflammation is the root of everything, right? So it's the root of weight gain. It's the root of bad aging. It's the root of intestinal problems. It's the root of, autoimmune disease. And inflammation is the bad business. And so you got to take stress out, which is why you got to like not sweat the stuff, because it doesn't matter. You got to not stress. You got to put the good things into your diet. You got to take the bad things out of your diet and really make those changes. Yeah, my daughter was diagnosed at 5. It's a real shit show, but it is what it is. Okay, back on point. So cinquefoil, 5-finger grass. Yep. I have Crohn's disease too, by the way, so that's where she got it. It's very hereditary. Okay, so the 5 fingers, did you know they're called the 5 sisters, and they all represent something different? Did you know this? So the 5 fingers, in no particular order, are love, money, health, power, wisdom. Those are the gifts of the 5 sisters of 5 finger grass. Love, money, health, power, wisdom. I'm sorry, health, not wealth. Love, money, health, power, wisdom. So, so, so good. Now, notice, not protection. Scott Cunningham would tell you it's for protection. It's not for protection. So, and this is why I need my own herb book, because it's not what it's for. Let me tell you everything that 5 finger grass is used for. If you take the tea of 5 finger grass before bedtime, it is said you will dream of your soulmate. It brings safety in travel. If you pack a little pouch of 5 finger grass in the backpack or the whatever luggage of somebody you love who is traveling far away from you, it will keep them safe. If you take a bath in water that has been steeped in 5 finger grass, if you wash your body 9 times, it's said that it will remove a hex on you. This is just Valerie, I didn't realize I said that, but I did actually say that Crohn's is a shit show. Pun intended. That's really funny. Okay. You know, I'm just sharing with you the lore, not necessarily that I believe all these things. And most of all, and this is how I was properly trained a long time ago, it's for money magic. Because 5 is just considered to be a number of wealth. So that is 5 finger grass. And literally the leaves of cinquefoil are just, they're the 5 points. It almost looks like marijuana, but it's not. And it doesn't smell like it either. Okay, and then walnut hull, which is the other little goodie in here. There's less of it. This is primarily tobacco and cinquefoil. And, you know, it's a lot. That's what I'm saying. Like this little tin, if you use it properly as offerings in your despacho, as incense, this should last you for a few months, and you will love it so much. Walnut hull brings blessings of the gods and wishes come true. And it is thought to strengthen your connection with God, with the divine. Let me repeat the 5 for Brooke, the 5 finger grass. Love, money, health, power, wisdom. 5 fingers of the 5 finger grass. That's right. You should absolutely, I put herbs in my medicine pouch. It's up to you. Some people don't like that. Some people want their medicine bag or their medicine pouch to be really, really tidy. You know, so they don't put herbs in there because they don't like the feeling that there's like crunchy, munchy stuff in the bottom, but I like it. So if you're down with putting herbs in your medicine bag, I think this is definitely a blend that should go there. Notice I said wishes come true. All 3 of these. So walnut hull is for energy of the divine, blessings of the gods, wishes come true. So good. Blessings from the divine. All of these are wishing herbs. So what you could do, if you want, is you could come up with a couple of wishes. Write down 3 wishes, for example. I like to work with 3. Get your little incense burner with your charcoal disc, light your charcoal disc, sprinkle this whole blend over the top of it. Wait till the smoke comes up and bring the smoke up over your face and over your hands, and then speak your wishes out loud. And this is from Pachamama. So we're doing, when we get to Herbwise and Gemwise, we're always talking about the kit that we just talked about at the last full moon. I know there's so many kits that's like what's happening right now, but we are working backwards a little bit. So those are your herbs. Did you like it? I gotta tell you, it's a tough act to follow. It's a really tough act to follow. I appreciate that. I'm excited about my herb book. I really am. You know what's funny is the publisher, what she said she's most excited about with my aromatherapy book are the stories. You know, all the stories of the kings and the pharaohs and the queens, and, you know, Josephine with Napoleon and Queen Elizabeth I, and how she grew her own roses and distilled her own rose perfume, and, you know, Cleopatra with the jasmine and the sails of her ships being dipped, and all these. There's so many stories. So. And I'm excited about that too, because there's really no aromatherapy book out there that goes into all the history. So it's going to be really, really good. You can drink this as a tea. You certainly can. You certainly can. You totally can. So it's very safe for you to drink as a tea. For me, this is an offering blend and an incense blend, primarily. Offerings and incense, you know. I'm really grateful that you guys are celebrating that with me. That felt really big. When the woman first reached out, I was like, is this really happening? It's really cool. She publishes big names in the field that you would recognize. So it was a real coup that she reached out to me. I was very excited about it. You sure could. You absolutely could. I would save it for offerings. It's just so precious, you know what I mean? And I can't because I don't sell ceremonial tobacco on its own. It's really hard to find. It's expensive. I would just save this. I like to keep things like this in the glove box of my car because invariably I don't always know when I'm going on a hike to pick things. Half the time it's like, oh, do you want to go look at that hill over there? You want to go climb it and see what we can find? It's like, oh, but I didn't bring my offerings. So I always keep stuff like this in my car. Or sometimes like if we're walking and I'm with the kids somewhere and I see a feather, even with a found feather, I will go, you know what, we need to leave an offering and bless the little spirit of the bird who left this behind. So you can always do that. Can you get an autographed copy? Are you guys kidding me? Who do you think is going to get the autographed copies? I'm going to do some kind of book party. So that would be a fun way to get all the sisters together is have you guys come out so we can do a really fun book launch party. Okay, so let me go quickly through the stones. You ready? Because we have about 20 minutes left. It goes by so fast. Okay, so this is aventurine. There are 6 kits left. Thank you for letting me know. If it says 6, that really is all that's there. We've been running out of the kits, which is why I was going to say if you didn't get the Ma'at kit for next month, which brings strength and equality, you know, if you need strength or you need a right outcome for something, I would use your 20% off coupon real quick tonight to get next month's full moon. I know I'm like telling you to use your discount to get the things, but then later you'll want the things you'll wish you'd use the discount. So, okay. So we have 2 stones in this set. Well, Robin, for goodness sake, don't use it then. If you have an anaphylactic reaction to walnuts, please do not use this. Now, Robin, just so you know though, if that ever happens, so let's say you have an allergy to walnuts and you know that, but you still want the kit, you know that I will custom make you a tin with no walnuts. You may not know that, but I will custom make you a tin. One of the things you should know as a sabbatical sister, and the people who work here will tell you this, if a sabbatical sister makes a request, my rule is we don't say no. And it drives everybody in the building nuts. Now, there are times when we have to say no because the requests get real crazy. But if we can actually do it, we do the thing. So if you were right in and say, I can't use walnut, I'd rather have this or whatever, we actually have special codes for sabbatical sisters with exceptions to all the things. It's true. We do the thing. I mean, it's like if you guys want it, but I don't do that for everybody. Other people write it and they're like, can I get this with no that? And we look at the names. It's like, she's not in sabbatical. The answer is no. You're in sabbatical, do the things. It's true. You know, it makes them crazy, and yet they also know it and they love it. And sometimes they'll come to me and say, what do you think about tucking this extra stone in here? It's for, you know, so and so. It's like, yeah, let's do that. You know, let's tuck that extra stone in. It's for sabbatical sister. It's really true. I love it. Okay, aventurine. Do you know, pop quiz, you ready? This is what's fun to me about stones because there's so much history and lore. And again, like the gem book is going to be all the history, all the roots of the words, the Latin roots, the Greek roots, like where does all this stuff come from? Because I want all that. Do you know where the name aventurine comes from? Pop quiz, I would love to know. That's very sweet, Sarah. I appreciate that. It's good to be normal too, except, you know, here's the thing. I'm that person in the restaurant who's like, okay, so I want a Caesar salad, but dressing on the side, no croutons, extra Parmesan cheese. Could you add chicken? Could you add onion? Could you not put, you know, no, you know, this, no, that. I'm that person. And so when orders come in and people are like, no croutons, extra cheese, dressing on the side, wait, no, extra dressing on the side. Could you add onion? Could you take this out? I'm always like, you know, our version of that, right? I want the candle, but no herbs. Could you send 2 perfumes? Could you add this? Could you put my name on it? Could you? I'm that person, so I understand. You're so not alone. And my husband looks at me like when I'm ordering dinner and I'm doing this, he's looking at me across the table like this. That's my wife right there. And the guy's like, or the woman or whoever's taking the order is just like, really? you want to go back and make it yourself? Okay. Aventurine comes from the Italian word ventura. Make sure I'm saying this right. Ventura, which means opportunity. A venture, right? That's where venture comes from. A new venture, a new adventure, right? So ventura means opportunity, luck, the granting of a wish in a way. And so that's why we think of this as the luck stone. This is called the gambler's stone, in case you didn't know that. Green aventurine is thought to bring huge luck to the bearer. If the wheel of chance, the wheel of fortune is going to roll, if you work with this stone, it's going to roll in your favor, so they say. So that's why we work with aventurine. But when we're talking about Pachamama, we're talking about a different energy with this stone. Now I'm working on a gemstone set for one of the members in our groups whose premature son isn't doing very well. And he's going to be okay, but he's been struggling. And he's struggling with blood issues and all these things. So I'm doing this whole really beautiful custom gemstone set for her baby. And aventurine's in there. Why is that? Because did you know it's really good for blood issues? It's really good for circulation issues. It's also really good for allergies. This is a stone that you can use if you have allergic reactions. It's one of the only stones that is specifically indicated for working with allergies. It balances hormones. It's for spiritual healing. It brings fertility. It helps with physical growth. So in this case, with this little gemstone set that I'm making for this tiny, tiny premature baby, it's going to help him grow and be nice and strong. So I'm glad you guys are using the code, by the way. Use it. Enjoy it. That's what it's there for. Okay, so this would definitely be a stone to go in your despacho for sure, because it'd be a beautiful offering to Pachamama. Either of the stones in this kit. This is the polychrome jasper. I cannot even begin to describe my love for polychrome jasper. What's really funny is I don't know that other people love it. I'm a hoarder of it. I love it. When polychrome spheres come in, I sit and play with them all day long because I see hearts and stars and all kinds of like beautiful. Remember when we had those polychrome spheres? They're gone now, but we had them for a while. I made a little sabbatical tool with them. Remember the incense with the polychrome sphere? I love it. And customers will come in and they'll kind of look at it and walk away from it. And I'm always thinking like, are they crazy? I think it's so beautiful. So aventurine is for all the things I just talked about. Now, polychrome jasper, the reason that is in the Pachamama kit, beyond the fact that it just looks like it belongs in the kit, think of every maternal emotion, okay? Good mother emotions. I'm not talking about my mother or your mother, but I'm talking about like things that a good mom does. A good mom is compassionate and loving and open and nurturing and kind and supportive and gentle and all those things. Makes you feel safe, makes you feel connected, makes you feel grounded. Anything that you would say about a good mother is what this stone does. And that may be why I love it so much. It may be because I have mother issues from not having the kind of mothering as a child that I really would have liked to have had. And so maybe that's why I connect with this stone. Now keep in mind, polychrome jasper, every piece is going to look different. So Samantha's like, my jasper looks nothing like yours. Polychrome jasper displays, you ready? Across the entire spectrum of it, approximately 44 shades of color. Which means if I have a brick of it, and this was cut from a brick because that's how it works. If I had a brick of it that's like 4 feet wide and 4 feet tall, you would see a display of 44 different colors. Isn't that fascinating? And there aren't a lot of stones that display that range of color. I mean, spectralite, which is like high frequency in terms of like the visual frequency, labradorite, right? Spectralite displays about 20 colors in the entire, so it displays the most color of any feldspar material. But at its best, you're going to see 20 different colors in a splash of spectralite. 44 in polychrome jasper that have been identified. So I will take a picture for you because when I go to Denver and Tucson, I work with one woman from Madagascar who like runs the show, and she's so amazing. And it's her family and her, she's a matriarch, and she basically runs the polychrome jasper universe in Madagascar, which is where the stone comes from. And she always has the rough when I go to the shows. And I mean, I can't buy it. I have nothing to do with it. But she brings it to kind of show you where the stones come from, which is why it's so, so magical. And I always go, she would tell you this, I always go and like put my hands on it, just kind of like lay my cheek on it. Like just to be around that much of that stone that I love so much, it just feels like the mother. Yeah, you know, Deb says it feels lightweight compared to the aventurine. My piece feels kind of like equal in a way, but they're radically different, right? The specific density, which is what we talk about with weight of stones, is different of these two stones. But anyway, if she's there with her rough like she always is, I'll take a picture in Denver and post it for you so you can see. I sometimes think, like, can you imagine if you have like a you know, some people would hate this, but like a bed built out of that, where you have like just a huge slab, massive slab of polychrome, and then you build like a mattress over it and you could just like sleep on that big loving maternal, I don't know, sounds really sweet to me. Yeah, so Cindy, I love that, because I put the natural in here because it's Pachamama. I wanted to get it to as close to the mother as possible. But it is fun to see the polish too, because the polish is just so beautiful, and then you start to get that sheen and that shine. Like my piece has kind of a rough side to it. You know, it's not all sexy and beautiful. This piece has more color on the side, but then the top, you know, looks like that, and the bottom looks like that. So, and in a way, I love that. But honestly, any form of polychrome jasper that you give to me, I'm real happy with. Oh, I love that. Casey said, my son has autism and loves the solar system. We agree my polychrome sphere is definitely Jupiter. I bet you it is. You know, because it has, you see in the polychrome spheres how it evidences all of those rings. It looks like those beautiful planets. It's so, so, so good. Yeah, well, it's not a super soft stone. Jasper is kind of a hard stone. So it is, you know, when you look at things, and sometimes people, you know, it's funny because people will, invariably people want something for nothing, right? So they'll look at polychrome jasper and say, well, it's not that expensive, and why do I have to pay all that for a sphere? And I had this conversation with her in Tucson, actually, because we were talking about how hard it is when you have a bar of this stone that's so huge, right? Like 4 feet by 4 feet, as an example. And she's like, you know, there's an intuition and an intelligence in terms of like where you go in to cut in order to get a square, which is what you start with for a sphere, that's going to polish down to a sphere that has good markings. Like, you have to look at that. That's a whole, there's science, and there's the process that goes into just deciding, where am I going to go in? Like, where do I start the cut? Because your goal is to have a sphere with lots of markings. The spheres with markings sell for twice as much as the spheres with no markings. So she's like, my goal is to produce no spheres with no markings. But I have to have somebody do that. I have to have a cutter who's smart and who can look and say, if it's these markings on this side and these markings on this side, then 90% sure there's going to be those markings on the inside, do you know? Versus like if there's markings on one side but no markings on the other, it's like 50-50 that you're going to go in and have no markings to evidence. And I was like, you know, I think that's part of what customers miss sometimes, is how much goes into, same thing with labradorite, right? I mean, when you make a labradorite sphere, do you want a labradorite sphere with no flash? Like, you sure don't want that. So, but you can tell by looking at the outside where you should go in to create the cut. And then if you don't do it well, if you don't do it evenly, if you don't do all that legwork to begin, you're going to end up with shitty spheres, which nobody wants. So that's exactly right, Lisa. You have to know the stone. And that's why people in their country know their stone. You know, the Mexican vendors that I work with, they know obsidian. Like, they work with it all their life. They know exactly how to go in and get that silver sheen or that gold sheen and make sure that there's sheen in the sphere. Because there's not sheen in every part of the stone. And how you cut it is you're rolling the dice, right? Same with people in Madagascar with the, well, Colin, you may want to stay tuned. I have an entire shipment of labradorite spheres coming from Madagascar, in fact, and spectrolite spheres too. So if you're not in a huge hurry, I can get you something really good, but they're on the ocean right now coming. So it's going to be probably another 8 or 10 weeks. I've got good ones coming. Okay. In the perfume, chocolate, real cacao essential oil in that perfume, mango, saffron, real saffron essential oil, tobacco, mango, all of that is in Pachamama. I wasn't sure, and I shared with you before. I really wanted to put all that stuff in here, but I was really worried about how it was going to smell. Really, really worried. I 95% like it. There are some times, and I don't know, you know what's really funny is, I don't know about you, my perfumes smell different on me depending on my cycle. Does that happen to you too? By the way, I'm coming to the end of my cycle, so hopefully my perfumes, once I go through finish menopause, will always smell exactly the same on me every day. But if I'm close to my period, things smell really different on me than if I'm not. Does that ever happen to you? I've actually never asked anybody else that before. Okay, well, I'm really happy to know that. Aw. Aw, Misha. That's really sweet. I appreciate that. All the pretty sparkly packages. Now, I did not try blending it with full moon, but I may have to try that. Maybe it would make me like it 100% of the time, because there's about 5% of the time in the last month where I've put it on, I've been like, not so sure about that. Yeah, well, Dave knows the chocolate for sure. Karen, so Karen, good question. Karen's asking about my big shell. You talking about this one? Yeah. This shell, if you want one, I just have to know that, and it could take up to a year. They are big and they are expensive. I think they're about $100, but they are so worth it. And that's my price, by the way. I wouldn't mark it up for you. They are so gorgeous. You see that? It's big. If you want one, send me a message, send it on Facebook, and just say, put me on a wait list for that red shell. And then I can probably get about 10 at a time. Things like that are the reason I love them so much, is you can't get very many of them. They're just beautiful. And they're art, and they're not rough, and they're extremely polished. So you want to talk about, again, an art, like it's complete mother of pearl on the outside. So anyway, if you want one, you can send me private messages. You've always been able to send me private messages. Just know that I have 2 people on the team who read those and try to direct customer service, like straight up customer service messages. They try to direct them over to Magic so that it doesn't overflow. There are days where there are hundreds of private messages on Facebook. That may not surprise you, but some people get surprised. They're like, I had no idea. Like hundreds. And that's in the main inbox. That's not even in the other inbox. You know what I'm talking about? Like the other weird inbox when people aren't your friends. It gets crazy. So if you send it, just know it may take a little while to get back to you, but they know who Sabbatical Sisters are. They don't read the messages from Sabbatical Sisters. They will tell me, hey, there's a bunch of Sabbatical messages in there. So I will go in and respond to those. Well, we were trying for a little while, Terry, because there was this period where it was like beyond hundreds of messages. It was just literally, we were getting like 10 messages a minute at one point. It was completely overflowing. It was insane. So I was like, look, as a sanity measure, let's just kind of shut it down for now until we get caught up. Now we're sort of caught up. And a lot of you have heard from me in the last couple of days. I mean, a lot of you in the feed have heard from me in the last couple of days directly through PM. So, and I always say, like, they will tell you when it's not me. They will say, hey, this is Ray. Usually it's Ray responding. Hey, it's Ray. We're overwhelmed right now. Or when it's me, you'll know it's me. And they try to honor that. You know, they try to honor the sanctity of like just seeing your name and not reading the message if they know it's a sabbatical person. You know how on the left side you can just see names? They try to honor that if they know it's going to be personal. They're looking more for like customers who are like, oh, I placed an order. Can you send me a tracking number? And it's like, those kind of messages we can't really respond to on Facebook. So message to personal Facebook, not Sage Goddess Facebook, personal Facebook. Okay. I appreciate that. It's a little bit of crazy. We try to respond to everybody. I mean, it's really hard. It's really challenging. Yeah, so if you're just getting back online, we're slightly a little more sane than we have been in the last couple of weeks. But just say, hey, Athena, you've got that wish list for those shells. Please add me to that wish list. There is an existing wish list for those shells, but I think it's caught up because at Tucson, we sort of satisfied the people who were on the wish list before. And just bear with me. Could take me until middle of 2017, but it's worth the wait. I think it's worth the wait. Okay, so we talked about all the things. It is 6:29. It actually is the end of the hour. I appreciate that. We really try. You know, it's funny because some people are just not satisfied, right? Like they want to hear faster. They want quicker times, and it's like we are trying so hard to keep up. We really do try. And my team will stay late. They come in early. I mean, everybody's trying to. You should see Elisa and Sharon. who work on the Magic at Sage Goddess responses. I mean, they are like so dedicated. They take it all so personally. It's really sweet. So let me tell you about the Mabon kit. I want to show it to you, and then I'm going to let you go for the evening. So here's the concept with Mabon. I wanted to do something different this year, and Mabon is equinox. So I went with the whole idea of the hourglass, which is on the label. You actually get a little hourglass with your kit, which I think is fun. It's just a little mini one. And then you get light and dark shadow stones like this. And so what we are going to be doing with the set in our private ritual is we are going to be flipping this hourglass together. This is why I want you to have the kit. So all together, all at once, we are going to flip the hourglass. What does that mean? So Joseph Campbell, if you've read his books, talks about the hero's journey. And one of the metaphors he uses is the hourglass. And he says that what heroes do, and you and I are heroes, what heroes do is at a certain point in our lives, every so often, we tell the universe, I'm ready. I'm ready for a new adventure. I'm ready to make a change. I'm ready to change my life. And we flip the hourglass, and that's what heroes do. And when we do that, we signal to the universe that we're ready for all this change, and then all these events start moving into motion, right? All these wheels get set in motion. I thought it'd be really cool if Sabbatical Sisters and me, all at once, flip the hourglass together on Mabon, on the one day when we are turning from light to shadow. And so that's what we're going to do live. We're going to gather on the 21st of September. The other good news for you I have, by the way, is on the 22nd, you know, the drum journey with Elaine. Elaine is coming and doing a drum journey for Mabon. We're actually going to offer that, a streaming version of that. So those of you who are not local will be able to attend an event. I know it's been so hard because you're not here and you can't do all the things, but she's actually very open to having a virtual version of the drum journey. So you'll be able to participate in that. So if you join the drum journey on the 22nd and you do the ritual with me on the 21st, you're going to have a really fun couple of days focusing on the turning of the wheel and moving toward the dark half of the year and all of those things. It's going to be so good, you guys. Okay, so that's what the Mabon kit is about. It's about saying to the universe, if you're ready for that. And only if you're ready. If you're not ready, don't do it. I mean, only if you're ready to say, okay, universe, and we're going to take a big, deep breath together before we do this, you know, just to say, I'm ready. Whatever this thing is, whatever it's coming, whatever the change is, I am ready for that. And so I think it will be very powerful. I have goosebumps just thinking about it. Like all of us at the same moment around the world, flipping that hourglass and holding each other, like creating a container for that. I think that's very powerful. And then tracking with each other what happens. Because I think in the weeks and the months that follow, and, you know, Haley says, I'm ready. Denise says, I'm ready. I'm ready too, which is partly why I created it. And we've never had a ritual so powerful in this way that we could do this thing together. You know, it's like ready, commit. And doing it in each other's presence, I think, is really sacred too. All right, well, everybody's ready. It's really, really good. Okay, and you're going to love Mabon perfume, by the way. Mabon perfume, if you don't love like super fall pumpkin-y things, Mabon perfume has, for the first time, I put agar wood. Agar wood is one of the most expensive forms of incense in the world. It is considered extremely sacred. You'll find agar wood or oud oil only in very rare places. I imported this from India. It's the real thing. And so there's a depth to Mabon because of that agar wood, and there's Oman frankincense in there from Jordan. I mean, it's this incredibly beautiful, there's a little bit of sweetness to it, but it's pretty deep too. And so the Mabon perfume is quite unique. I think you're really going to enjoy it. I really, really do. Okay, so don't forget that. And then here's the really cool surprise I have for you. Are you ready? We even did Mabon postcards. Can I show you? When you place an order, you're going to get one of these in your order. Isn't this beautiful? This is my favorite line from Dante's Inferno. It's the first two paragraphs of Dante's Inferno. You know that I used to be a literature buff, so this is like where my heart sits. It's the first two lines of Dante's Inferno. We did it in this light and dark. Isn't that beautiful? And it reads, in the middle of the journey of our life, I came to myself astray in a dark wood where the direct way was lost. It is a hard thing to speak of how wild, harsh, and impenetrable that wood was, so that thinking of it recreates the fear. And it goes on and on and on. Isn't that beautiful? Dante's Inferno. I was really excited. Okay, So that is coming. We just printed these postcards today. So if you place an order with your code tonight, that's the postcard that's going to be in your package. I thought that was really cool. So these are the 2 surprises in 2 orders from today, and only for people in sabbatical. So your odds are real good. I'm going to put these stones. One of them is this orange calcite sphere, which if you know about wishing stones, when it has the line all the way around it, I found this orange calcite sphere going through our supply of them. And it has the line all the way through. And in fact, it really has 2. It has one going north and one going south. So one of you, whatever size order you place, is going to get a big old box with this sphere in it that I've been holding on to just for somebody in sabbatical. And it doesn't matter what time you place your order, you don't have to place it now. It's just 2 people from today. And then the other piece I've been holding on to, because I knew it was for somebody in sabbatical, is this twin quartz, which is self-healed. You ever heard of self-healed quartz? It means it broke internally and healed itself. So it brings healing to the bearer. Do you see that? Self-healed quartz is really magical. So it's a self-healed twin Lemurian with smoky quartz crystals on it. It's the most beautiful thing. I wish I could get a better shot of it. The lighting in here is not great. So one of you is going to get that orange calcite sphere, and another one of you is going to get the twin Lemurian smoky quartz self-healed situation. I know. I like to do those where I tuck the things in the packages, but you know, I really wanted to do it for sabbatical this time. So I'll be really excited. I'm not going to announce who it is, but it'd be really cool if you told us when you get it. If you're okay with me announcing it, like if it's you and you get it and you message me and say it's okay for you to tell people that it was me, then I'll announce it. But some people don't like to, you know, have all the notoriety around things, so I will honor that for you. I love surprises. I really, really do. There's something about, I know we're going over time, but there's something about when you were little, when I was little, and someone would say, I have a surprise for you. Those words, and it didn't matter what it was. It didn't matter what it was. This necklace was a surprise from Katie, which it was really, really cool. I mean, I love little surprises that are just so meaningful, especially from people that I love. Those words, when I was little, I remember anytime, there wasn't many times people would tell me that, right? But I mean, I remember people saying, I have a surprise for you, and like my heart would start to kind of beat faster. I think we should still have that as grown-ups. You know, have somebody say, I have a surprise for you. Like, whoa, what's that? What kind of surprise is it? I have a surprise for you. No, Samantha, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if it's pickup or ship. That's the fun part. I'm gonna have a lot of fun choosing who these go home to. No, and nothing disqualifies you. So if you're in sabbatical and you place an order today, you're in, and your odds are pretty good, I would say. All right, my sisters. So I'm gonna read these cards or pull these cards tomorrow. Okay, in the group, since I didn't get to do it tonight, but I'm really excited. If you want to know what deck it is, it's the Namaste deck. I don't sell it, but you can probably get it on Amazon. Tony Salerno. And I think the art is really beautiful. I'm not, you know, I don't even know Tony, but I think her cards are really pretty. Isn't the art beautiful? So I will pull blessing cards for you. Don't you love birthday surprises, Haley? It's so, so, so good. All right, everybody. Have a wonderful night. I will see you very soon. Enjoy the rest of your week. We have a lot of fun things ahead, including crafting for next week with our Mabon incense. So until then, enjoy, be well, stay peaceful, stay drama-free. I'm working on that too. I'll see you soon.